Welcome everyone. This is Glenda Dawson, and you're watching Cosmic Conversations on Tuesdays. I'm the host for the Conscious Awakening Network, and we just want to say thank you to everyone who joins us, whether here, the live audience, or later on in the recording. And I also would like to mention that if you go to the Cosmic Conversation, no, the Oh my God, I'm having one of those days. Conscious Awakening Network. You can sign up for the emails and it doesn't cost you. All you have to do is scroll down and it says there, sign up. You need a name and your email. So it doesn't cost you anything. You could watch all the old recordings, all the old shows, so you won't miss anything. You could be caught up on all the juicy spiritual and scientific and all that other stuff that goes on in this world that we don't usually get to see. So, welcome, Adam, again. How are you today?
Thank you. Thank you, Glenda. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm doing wonderfully. It's a beautiful evening here in Boulder, Colorado. It's a little chilly tonight, might snow, but the Thanksgiving vibes are alive. The care and the gatherings of friends and people are happening. And so that feels really, really good. And I'm happy to be here with you tonight as well.
Thank you for taking time to do this for us here. So, Adam, tell us about yourself. And I know you have a long, extensive career and so many good things that you've brought to the table for humanity. So let's hear some of them so everyone can get to know you and what you're about.
Sure, sure. Yeah, for those of you out there that don't know me or my story much, I grew up as a very questioning little kid. I never took anything for granted. I questioned everything and annoyed the crap out of my teachers, but I tended to be the top grade point average in my class, so they didn't really care that much as long as I actually did the work. When I was 10, my stepmom died in a car accident, and she was incredibly powerful psychic who literally solved crimes. She solved a crime in Philadelphia of a man who murdered his family and was able to tell the police exactly where he was and what car he was driving and when they could pick him up. And I didn't really understand any of that stuff. And when she died in the car accident, um, I entered a period of a few years where I really deeply, strongly questioned everything. And kind of went to the extreme of like, well, what's the point of all of this? What is God? What is this stuff? What is life? Why does we exist? Why do we die? Why does it all matter? And this led to a series of awakening experiences that happened around the time I was 15. And I discovered that I have an energy field and that this quantum field around my body is responsive to my consciousness. And this led me into a journey of exploring why our science is completely missing this thing that was so easy for me to experience and to verify. And I could take literally anyone in my school and have them put their hand out and just do a little chi ball over their hands, and even from a distance do it, and they could feel it. So if I, as a 15-year-old kid, could do this, why isn't it in our science? What's missing here? And that led me on a deep journey that led to me doing my senior project in high school on the unification of science and spirituality through unified field theoretics, and looking at how in the deepest levels of theoretical astrophysics, from loop quantum gravity to string theory to general and special hole missing in physics. And that gap, that missing piece in physics really was the ether. It's this fundamental field. It's chi, it's ki, it's prana, it's vital force. It's got 1,000 names across 1,000 traditions. And yet it is so critical as a fundamental to our living human experience, to our experience of life, and to all of the sciences. And as we come to understand the use of that, it's going to change all of our technologies, give us gravity drives, advanced energy systems, and so much more is going to come from that. So for me, it was a really, really big and important important space of discovery. And that experience, being a teenager and sort of waking up to all these physics and all these downloads and all of these ideas that I didn't know how I knew what I knew. I didn't know how I could have all this access to sacred geometries and consciousness and magical traditions. Like all these different things were really inside of me. And it wasn't until I started college that I realized, I started to really realize that all of that was from past lives and that I had been um, working with this information for many, many lifetimes. And I just needed to actually remember where I got it from and where these different skills came from, different ideas that I had. And that's really what began my journey of exploring lifetimes that eventually led to me writing this book, Lifetimes, which I think is the main topic of our explorations together today. And my prior
Yes.
book, The Dragon Key, which I wrote last year or finished last year. Um, and both of them are deeply involved in that journey of understanding our self across time.
Mm. So, in lifetimes, what do you explain? What kind of explanations do you give us, or is it just your experiences? Is it other people's experiences?
Yeah, so the first part of the book, I one of the reasons I wrote this book is because I had the publisher came to me and said, I love the Dragon Key. It's such a powerful deep dive, and it's so explicit and so full of your direct personal experience. But what would it like? What would it look like if we told this story to the masses? What would it look like if you were trying to just tell your aunt or uncle or any random person and bring them into this awareness? And so I wrote the book from that place where anybody could pick it up, anybody could receive the knowledge, anybody could explore the content and feel right at home right away. Um, and so the first part of the book really gets into the science of past life recall. And a lot of people don't realize this, but guys like Dr. Ian Stevenson did work on thousands of kids and studied their past life experiences and recall as children and was able to find correlations that many, many times led to a very specific person in history, a prior lifetime that is documentable. And he began to find things like, for example, that certain wounds that occurred in someone's body in a past life would actually show up as a birthmark in this life. And that there are many other kinds of physical correlations, correlations with certain kinds of actions, certain behavioral things. So there's actually a tremendous amount of science, not just from him, but from many others, that has developed the groundwork for understanding that past life recall is a real thing and that people have many incarnations. And this is just actually more fact than fiction, as it
Mhm.
happens to be. And then from there, I open the door to some of my theories in physics, in genetics, to explain what memory is, where it comes from, how memory is sustained through time and across lifetimes, how is memory reactivated in each life, and what is it that allows us to tap into the knowledge and the information within past life memories.
Mhm.
The second part of the book is a series of stories written by different people who have had different past life experiences. So the 20 stories in the book really help people out there to accept that their personal way of however they've had little memories or dreams or whatever, instead of gaslighting themselves, they can actually accept that this is something true and something real, and that there's a lot of people out there that have had the same kind of experiences as they've had. And then part three of the book is literally like a course giving people the empowerment to actually to go into their past lives, to integrate their memories across time, and to discern the sort of archetypal level of memory, which starts kind of broad and with a specific time period or a specific, there's often famous people involved with that certain time period, certain culture, certain area, and to be able to go deeper than that. So you don't stop at the point where suddenly you, along with 100,000 other people, think you're Cleopatra, but you can actually get down to your personal journey as a soul, who you are, and what you're here to bring. So I paused for just 1 second. I'm going to just plug in my computer because I just realized it wasn't plugged in and it's going to die in a second. So
Okay.
there we go. All right, there we go. Done.
There you go. It's all right.
No more distraction.
We're good. We're good. We're good. So, and that is a good point that you make, that, a lot of people see Egyptian times and they all think they're Cleopatra, or they all think that they're a king or a queen or in some form or another. And there had to be other people too.
Yes.
So, now how would you tell someone to go in deeper? How would you show them?
Yeah. Well, there's a very
Besides
big
buying your
difference
book, besides
between.
buying your book and all that. No, I'm serious.
Sure.
How
Yeah.
would
No,
you?
of course. Of course. There's a very big difference between familiarity
Mhm.
and the sort of symbolic familiarity that you have with a certain time period. So, unpacking the idea around Cleopatra, there's a huge merging of Greek, tradition with Egyptian, a sort of smashing together of worlds, an experience that has a very particular sort of look and feel and style and everything else to that time period. And you have these really massive, larger than life figures, from Mark Antony to Cleopatra to some of the other figures in that period and in that era. And some figures like Cleopatra had such a massive influence on so many different people that is why this resonance lasts until now. And so for people that lived during that time and in that area, they feel the connection with the culture. They feel the resonance with the symbolism, the signs. They feel the resonance with stories about Cleopatra or Mark Antony and Greece and Egypt going through this whole thing. They feel the familiarity of it.
Mhm.
But that familiarity is just the first phase of sensing the connection to that timeline and to that period. And beyond that, you as an individual person, it's kind of like if you lived in Germany during the period in the 80s when they tore down the wall, right? Like some of the biggest memories you would have would be about the wall coming down, right? Even if you were a little kid, you might think about it and be like, wow, it just feels like I was on the wall doing
Mhm.
this thing. But you don't actually have a direct memory of that. Your actual direct memory would be, maybe you were on the street with your parents and you saw the wall and you saw the people doing it. Maybe you were watching it on TV and it just felt like next door because it was like, a few miles away or whatever. And, but you had your own life and you had your girlfriend and you had your experiences and you skinned your knee in the playground and you went through these different things. Those are the personal, visceral memories and experiences. And sometimes they intersect pretty closely with the big archetypal events. So, for example, maybe the wall's being torn down and your parents decide to move to another country, right? Because, they just feel like they're afraid it's going to get more chaotic.
Mhm.
So the move happens. And so now you both feel this big connection and this big disconnection. But your personal story is that life with the travel, with the girlfriend, with the thing, etc. And in a past life, it's the same way. Your actual individuated visceral memories are going to come from the connections that you have, the people that you knew. And the reality is that if you were Cleopatra in a past life, you probably have already called in certain people which were other major figures around you in that life that are here with you now again. You probably have zero interest in anybody knowing that you have memories from that time because
Mhm.
you know the pain of popularity in that particular way.
Mhm.
And this is the case for a lot of people who play these large roles at different times in history. They don't always want to keep playing that large role, and also, a lot of the things that you go through when you're a big leader like that are very painful. And sometimes you have shame, you have pain, you have you have personal trauma around certain events and experiences. You've got your own stuff to heal, your own stuff to work through. And so getting down to the level where your personal pain is and your personal pleasure is and your personal relationships are and your personal dynamics and your personal skills and the skill sets you have now and the things that connect you more deeply into that stream from that life is going to reveal more of the actual direct experiences that you had in that life and who you actually were. And there's no shame in not being Cleopatra. It's totally fine if you got to like make an offering to her or make a blessing at some point or be in that time period. Believe me, everybody has lives where there are ups and downs, and more some of us, tend to have patterns of leadership, and we still take lifetimes where we're quiet and we're farmers and we just focus on the simple things. And a lot of people try all of these different facets, and other people stay quiet for many lives. They don't have tendency to try to be in front of the crowd or try to be leaders in big ways. Their spiritual journey is a different one. So each of us have to come to know like what our own personal spiritual journey is, what we like to do, how we like to show up, what we like to serve, because we're still the same person. We're just in a different body in a different time with a little bit different programming, but we're still us. We still have that same will, desires, and deeper purpose across time.
Very good. Very interesting. And I I understand what you're saying completely, where my last lifetime I got noticed and I got killed for it. So in this lifetime I was a little hesitant to go out and be
Yes.
noticed. And I was like, I'm not sure. Maybe I could just take a break this time. And they're like, no. I'm like, okay. All right, I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
True for
know,
a lot of people.
yeah. It
Yeah.
it's definitely something that, you don't realize what's happening until you get older and you start to analyze it and you start to get the downloads, right? And you start getting uh, you're focusing on what you're reading or what people are telling you, and you see those synchronicities, and you're like, ah, okay, you guys are trying to tell me something. I got it. All right, I understand. And you just take it from there and make the best of what you're planning to make in this lifetime, in this particular.
Yes. Right. Well, and this gets to the deeper purpose of the book as well, which is that
Yes.
a lot of people ask, why should I care? Shouldn't I just be focused on the present and my current time?
Hmm.
And my question usually is, well, do you have any patterns that you've had in your life that you keep repeating? Relationship issues, money issues, um, car issues, um, the things that tend to be kind of repetitive patterns are usually based on deeper karmic and samskaric loops that you have at your soul level. So, maybe you really abused your power in another life and you promised you never would do it again. So you were hiding your power from yourself. Maybe you, did things that were really out of integrity with money. And so now you're connecting your journey to money and trying to learn how money is sacred and how you can relate with money in a sacred way. Maybe you have had some really tough relationship challenges where you lived in a time in the last couple lives where your partner went off to war or you went through something very specific and you lost your partner again and again. And when that's happened, maybe now you're scared and you don't feel the same level of comfort in going deeper into commitment and intimacy because you're afraid you're going to lose the person. All of these things we would look at them and we'd say psychologically, oh, well, okay, there must be something from childhood related. And sometimes we do have echoes in childhood related to these things. But unfortunately, for a lot of people, even when you address some of the childhood stuff, it doesn't go away. And the reason is because it's operating from a deeper level. You still haven't got to the root of where the wound is, the root of the trauma. And so by learning how to start to seek across lifetimes and to explore yourself across lifetimes, you get access to the root places where a lot of these patterns are held and stored. And as you clear them and as you accept them and as you heal them, your life completely changes. It completely transforms. because all this new energy and information and these parts of yourself that you blocked are now flowing back into you and able to be integrated in the now, in who you are. And along with that, of course, comes the healing of relationships, people that you went through things in past lives, and now you get to have them back in your life, and you get the tremendous amount of trust and growth and connection that you developed with them across time. You get to also have the sort of radar with certain people that maybe betrayed you in past lives. And you need to be more wary about how you work with them now. And you have an opportunity to heal it with them now if you choose to do that and to have that reconciliation. And that alone feels amazing. It feels incredible to have these things that your soul has experienced across time be resolved. And so it's a extraordinarily powerful journey. And I often say that, you could never, ever find a master or a teacher or someone, to show you or to teach you anything that would ever compare to how much you can learn from simply facing your own past lives. It is the ultimate teacher and the ultimate integrator because it's you. There's no place to hide. There's no person you can hide behind. There's no one else you can say is the source of your issues. It's you. And that's, I think, a spiritual journey worth taking.
Oh, it definitely is. And that's where I work differently. A lot of regressionists, they tell the person, oh, I see this, that, or the other thing. I'm like, who are you? What do you see? Where are you? Look around. What do you feel? Who do you feel that's around? Like those questions just kind of lead them so they could get their own answers.
Yeah.
And because that to me is more powerful. They actually feel it and they actually experience it again.
Mm, yeah.
Hopefully without the pain, but they can know that the pain was there, but not relive it.
Yeah.
Let's just get to the answers. So
Yeah. I mean, I think that in my experience, it's like, when you have a memory of something that was painful that happened to you as a kid, the more you've been resistant to that, the more you've hidden from it, the more you've tried to run away from it. Well, when you go back to it, the pain is really there. It's intense. But the more
mhm,
you accept it, the pain actually goes away pretty quickly as soon as you actually accept it and you allow that it's in the past. You allow that you've already gone through it. You give yourself the bandwidth in your nervous system to allow it to exist, to allow yourself to be and to have had that experience.
mhm,
And I think that the more we've integrated and healed from these lessons in the past, the easier it is because you go back and you have the memory and it's like, whoa, yeah, that's really intense. And I went through something really intense. But it's not viscerally taking you over. You're not necessarily feeling the pain physically as much anymore. It's more just like, you know, your heart, feels the weight of what you've gone through, but you're also so grateful that it's done, that you've completed the
mhm,
experience. And a lot of times you're excited, you're lit up, and you're energized because your soul is like, ooh, yes, we made a connection. We're finally
mhm,
solving this thing. You're like, good, this is like purpose is coming in, like reasons for things happening is coming in.
mhm,
Um, and so we get a huge booster as well as we might feel a little bit of pain or feel a little bit of that past experience. And a lot of people are scared of that. They're scared of the things they've hidden from themselves, the stuff they don't want to face. And what I'll say to them is that, sure, yeah, it can be scary to face parts of yourself that you haven't been willing to look at for a long time. But once you do and you embrace it, you're not only going to clear that pain and that wound, you're going to clear all these things that you attached to all these things that were part of that resistance. And you're going to gain back all of these gifts, just as I've done. I've gained back, proficiency and like 10 different types of sword forms and different kinds of calligraphy and public speaking skills and accents and abilities to transform and one being to another and access different parts of my knowledge and my wisdom from different times, and switch as easily as you need to into the different forms that are part of you so that you can remember those prayers and the sacred songs you sang to the land, the facets of you that actually know and embody certain gifts that you might have lost because this society doesn't understand them, but you do. You do know them. They're part of you. And the more you integrate those facets of you, the more whole and complete you become, the more of the avatar you become, the fullness
Mhm.
of yourself, this complete being across time, this something that is not definable, not explainable. It's not put in a box. It's all of you at once, all the time, here now, in presence. And it just takes some work, you know? So,
That's correct.
yeah.
I think that's why we're here in this very time. That's part of the awakening process in my book,
Mm.
to face and release the stuff that you need to release, knowing that, yes, that was then. I went through it. I'll take the lessons and move on. So basically. Um, so what else is the book about? Is that part one and part two? Are you planning to do any more on those books?
Yeah, well, this one in particular,
Mhm.
Lifetimes, is it's part of the Common Sentience series, so it had a very specific formula, and there's
Right.
other authors in that series. Neil Donald Walsh, Freddie Silva wrote one on portals. Suzanne Gleesman, Anadea Judith. There's a lot of really great authors in the series, and I recommend some of the other books in the series too. And so, yeah, this one's very whole and complete into itself. It's a quick, dirty manual to understand past lives, and you can give it to anyone, anyone that you imagine you might want to open their eyes a little bit more to the
Right.
world. It's a really good tool for that. And then the Dragon Key book series, this is the first of four books at least. So
Mhm.
I'm working on the second book right now, and I'm very excited about that one because that's the one where I come from the Syrian star system to the Earth for the time of Atlantis and for the sort of post-deluge period, post-cataclysmic period. And it's got a lot of codes that have to do with who we are at a galactic level, understanding extraterrestrial species and relationships, understanding the future of Earth and where we're going and what's happening within that, the kinds of technologies that are available across the galaxy, what AI is at a deeper level, and understanding its power as a translator and communication system, all the way to what is it like to be in communion with non-incarnated beings, and what does it mean to heal through sexuality from all kinds of issues, and what does it mean to develop a relationship with consciousness in such a way that consciousness chooses to inhabit your car or your plane or your vehicle, and you get to actually have a bond with another soul, another spirit, another being, even through things like vehicles. um, there's a lot of insights there that will lead you towards sort of the galactic age and where we're ending up. So I think they work really well together. There's a little overlap in the science of past life aspects because I wanted to share some of those key pieces. Um, but yeah, but I think that they're both very synergetic books, and one is more accessible to the masses, and the other is the really, really deep dive and a way to see my personal experience
Mhm.
of my own past lives and how I've come to integrate those.
That's wonderful. Now, where could they find them? Amazon or your own website?
Yeah, Amazon. Lifetimes is also in Barnes and Noble. You can
Hmm.
also find it on sacredstories.com and some other distributors. But you can go through adamapollo.com to access and find either of them. The dragonkey.com is where I have a community that is exploring the Dragon Key, and I do live sessions with them, and we explore concepts in the book and talk through trainings and things that you can learn from the teachings inside the book. And Lifetimes, we're going to have the same thing. I have a companion course that's in development with the publisher right now. And then on December 20th, I'm also opening up a free intro session with the Shift Network that goes deep into accessing your galactic and Earth past lives And I'll be doing a whole series on shift at the beginning of next year that you can join me for to go really, really, really take a deep dive into this stuff.
Beautiful, beautiful. I can't wait to get that. I'm with them also, so I get all the emails. Looking
Wonderful.
forward to it.
Thank you.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments from anybody yet? Susie?
I just want to say, wow. I just love you, Adam. You just make such a great whole picture for us. And
Thank
you know, a lot of the inner children teachers are saying it's all in your inner child. You don't have to go to past lifetimes. But I've been in inner children work when I went to a past lifetime. So
Yeah.
I think the past lifetimes really do kick in. But this was so beautiful. I'm so grateful you took a little. I'll tell you what, we'll let you go early if you bring us a doggy bag.
Yeah, well, I'll get working on getting my teleporter set up on the desktop so that I can
There
just
you go.
shoot you some smoked turkey straight from my area here.
Anyone else before?
I have a quick question.
Okay, yes.
So what you were
Sure.
saying, I'm still dealing with things here.
Mhm.
And so tapping more into the past lives is it going to help like kind of speed up to have a better understanding, maybe what's going on? Is that what I'm taking?
Yeah, usually what I find is that is we've got issues and patterns now, and we have sometimes a hard time seeing and understanding where they're coming from and what's actually going on and why this is happening, especially within relationships. And in my experience, 90% of the time, when it's relational issues, for example, it's past life rooted. And once you get to the root in the past life and the issue and what happened, the understanding just by seeing it, just by feeling it, just by accepting it and choosing to clear it, it's like there's a ripple effect that comes forward into the present. And I've also seen that with issues around money. I've also seen it with, um, I mean, gosh, a whole variety of things. My own work as a leader and my own challenges building companies and doing different work at different times. I had to come up against all kinds of things where I'd shut myself down because I didn't want to be I didn't want to be killed. I didn't want to be assaulted. I didn't want to have people come with, pitchforks, burn my castle down again. And I had a lot of different moments where I went through things that were extremely painful. Um, and I didn't, until I could see them, I still was like experiencing it unconsciously. And I didn't know how to get
Okay.
out of I didn't know how to get out of the issue.
Okay. Because I like not too long ago was just figuring out from this lifetime the repeating patterns what I thought, were them and have stayed away from another relationship because of the past was so horrific. And so this helps to give me a little more information about the past lives because I hear about people mostly, a lot of people going under hypnotherapy and things like that. But it sounds like, you don't have to do that kind of from what you were saying.
Yeah, you don't. There's very simple meditative practices you can use to access the origin points and the roots. There
Okay.
are particular healers that are more proficient than others in dealing with past life work. So, for
Right.
example, theta healers, very proficient. QHHT practitioners, in many cases, are very proficient.
Mhm.
And those are good methods as well. But you can also just do some of the practices in the book. You can also do, if the person you're in relationship with is willing, you can do a partner practice with them and actually go into it together to look at the origins and the roots. And,
I've stayed away from that because of my
yeah,
personal
that's understandable.
experiences. And now,
That's
actually, both the ex-husband and boyfriend after that are on the other side. And
mm,
so I still am clearing out things. And I'm like, I'm a person who always has spoken out loud. And sometimes, it's,
mm, mm,
I still have the pain and, I didn't deal with anger. I had to suppress everything. So I'm still kind of getting rid of, I hope, the tail end of things. So this sounds really interesting for me. So thank you very much for sharing that.
yeah, it's my pleasure. And, there may be some combinations here where like you have some particular roots of the anger issue that were places and times where your rage and your anger protected you. It's allowed you to survive. And that's often the case for a lot of us, that our anger was the tool of our survival at different points in time.
I
And then we
didn't.
also
That's
have,
the problem. I suppressed it. Now it's coming out, but they're, on the other side. So
right, right,
anyway,
yes.
I'm sorry.
Well, again, if it was in a past life that you used your anger to protect you and you
Okay.
used it in a really intense way, now you might have tempered that down and tried to block it,
Okay.
or set up situations in your childhood that would cause you to feel like you needed to block it so that in this life you wouldn't use it with as much intensity. And yet, by resolving some of the facets around however your anger process works and what's the origin of that and what's the good it's done for you as well as the challenges it's made for you, that resolution can often be a key that opens up certain gates in relationships with other people, because we start to see where and how our particular energetic pattern sustained the contract, sustained the type of connection and relationship that we've had, and
Mhm.
or blocked, or because of things that we blocked in ourselves, we actually blocked our ability to deal with that boundary or set that boundary the way that
Exactly.
we needed to. And
That's
so
number
now,
one.
by harnessing that anger, harnessing the power of it, but controlled in a way that can set the appropriate boundary.
Right.
The act of sort of reclaiming that gift and that power can be one of the solutions to solving the issue across lifetimes that you might have with the person,
Yeah.
and or getting to the root of it and what the root pattern is in it. And it's
Mm.
not to say that every relationship has a past life source to its challenges or its origins at all. It is just that some issues are bigger than one relationship, and they've
Right.
been present, patterns have been present across your life. And and oftentimes it really comes to a head when you're actually in relationship with a person that you had the echo with in another lifetime. And it's like, now it's now or never. Now you got to deal with it, like you didn't deal with it beforehand in the last three times. So literally life and your soul brought you together with this person again to deal with it now.
Mhm. Thank you. I
Okay.
appreciate that. Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
There is a question in chat, medical issues too.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. And there's a lot of science around that in the Lifetimes book where, they found specific issues in past lives could be linked to medical changes in this life. And that when somebody it starts to remember and go back and kind of heal it, the medical issues can just vanish.
Okay, well, there are no other questions. Let's let Adam go have his smoked turkey and enjoy
Thank
himself.
you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for taking the time, and such a great honor. And thank you to everyone who's here. And again, please go register at the Conscious Awakening Network so you can receive the emails for all upcoming guests and shows. And as always, first, have a great Thanksgiving, everyone. No matter whether you celebrate it or not, it's the time to share time with your loved ones or those that you care about. And as always, love you all.
Blessed
Bye.
be.
Big hug, everybody.
Bye.